Hello there, my name is Balazs and we have here the Apple iPhone 6s in not only full review, but we have been using this for 2 to 3 weeks now after the release. And we are quite pleased with the battery runtime. You can see we have 65% right now at the end of the test, which takes about 15 to 20 minutes. We will check also in again how much battery we have then there. Otherwise, 4.7-inch screen is still the same. The design is still the same. It's a little bit thicker than last year's model with 7.1 millimeters instead of 6.9. It got also a little bit heavier with 143 grams. But you probably all know this already when you have just seen my iPhone 6 versus iPhone 6s comparison video, so we will only go shortly all around the device and tell you guys it's still beautiful. It's still quite nice to just hold in your hand, but I would definitely not use it without a cover or anything because it's really still expensive. Here in Germany you have to pay $750 for 16 gigs of internal memory that you cannot expand. Still, Apple still has that policy, which is, I think, a little bit stupid, but otherwise, volume rocker, we have still the mute button here, the lightning cable plug-in, so you can use different things there like external storage, maybe microphone and headset jack right next to each other. A really good speaker system still inside. Other phones like, for example, the Sony Z5 Compact or the Z5 that are in the same size category have dual speakers on the front, as you can see here. 2 speakers, and we have a comparison of the 6s with the new Z5 Compact also, but still, for example, here the speaker is louder and clearer. But still only nano SIM card slot and on and off switch on this side, and the Touch ID is so amazingly fast now in the new version. It's just crazy, and a lot of people are complaining because they cannot read their notifications on the home screen anymore. So usually when you just touch it and want to see what notifications you have, you can, but here you can see the Touch ID is so fast. I only have to touch it really quite shortly and we are already inside the system, and it's in a blinking of an eye right there. So if you want to read your notifications, just press the button on the side so you can see here what's happening without having to go inside the system and ruin the surprise. So otherwise, still beautiful metal body. I know this is not the rose gold version right now in my hand. We have shown you that in different videos, but here it's also beautiful. The silver and white combination is still looking nice. I know the screen is not clean anymore, but of course I'm using it a lot, so I have to clean it like every 5 minutes, but that's just normal here with, I think, any phone that you will buy. The camera on the front got an upgraded, now has a 5 megapixel instead of 1 megapixel sensor, and on the back we also have now 12 instead of only 8 megapixels, so we can shoot 4K videos, and actually the lens is not clean, so let me clean that up also, and we will check out the cameras later. So before we go into the system deeply, there is also a feature called Hey Siri I would like to show you guys. So it's really awesome to just not having to unlock your phone. It can lie here with the locked screen, and I can just say, Hey Siri. Hey Siri.
Siri not available. Connect to the internet.
Oh, I was in my Wi-Fi before. Oh, right now, okay. Here. Let's try it again. So, Hey Siri. How is the weather in Munich today?
Okay, the temperature for Munich, Germany today will range between 1 degree and 8 degrees.
But you can also do different things, like, for example, just play some kind of song from Apple Music if you have it installed, or of course from your iTunes library also, but it's easier to just say something, trying to play music from a library of multiple million songs. So play me the song Bills. So it says now it's playing Bills by Lunch Benny Lewis. For some reason on this phone, it takes a little bit to start streaming. Now to pause it, you have to go into the music, but what you can do is also play me the rest of the album. And you can see now we can play the whole album also in Apple Music just by telling Siri to play the whole album. Right down to buy milk later.
Creating your note. Here's your note.
So Siri got smart now, like for example Cortana or OK Google did. So that's quite nice. Also, when you have your airplane information or you just want to see some sports information, it's also quite easy to check that. Show me the NFL scores.
Here's the NFL schedule for Week 6.
So it works also with basketball here in Germany for Bundesliga. So for soccer, that's also no problem, I guess. In different countries, you have different mainstream sports things that are supported by Siri, and it's quite handy to just have that there without having to type it in anywhere somewhere or opening up an app or anything like that. And you can see also it works with different apps together. So let me go in here. And let's check out some different stuff, like for example, now that you have here, for example, search on top, that's also quite handy. You didn't have that. And there's a lot of other tips and tricks I've shown you guys in another video that's also quite long. So you have to check that definitely out later. And you can see we're already 6 minutes in and still the same percentage when it comes to battery. So let's continue and see what the new iPhone does. So for example, you have still your Apple Maps on here, which has amazing 3D picture quality. I don't know how they did it. On Google Maps, you cannot really see cities usually this nicely with all the trees and buildings and everything here in 3D. But not only does Apple do this beautifully, but what they also do is if you zoom all the way out, and just check out your globe, for example, you can see different cities with 3D tours, and it will show you, for example, if you are for one day or half a day somewhere where it's interesting to go, usually. So, I'm done. Either it's still loading or I don't know what's wrong right now. So usually it will show you here different cities with different 3D tours. For some reason it's not working for me right now, but anyhow, usually it's quite cool. And also again in my tips and tricks video you can see a little bit of a demo for that, but right now I'm just a little bit confused that there's you can browse around during countries and cities, but there's no names and no grid here actually available, which is quite strange. Here we go. So for example, I'm in Munich based usually, and it says a little 3D sign right there. It should have the same thing, I think, for other cities like maybe Stuttgart. Doesn't seem like it. You can also see a little bit of traffic information or where they're building stuff. And so Apple Maps just got a lot better with iOS 9, and it's really quite awesome to use for anything that you want a map to be there. So that's again one of the features. Of course, 3D touch is also a feature. So I could, for example, on Maps say, for some reason it's in German, I don't know why. Let's try it somewhere else. For example, with the camera, record a slow motion video right away, or take a selfie, so you don't have to go into the camera, turn around the camera to the front camera, and then record a selfie. So we can see here the front camera, again, 5 megapixel, quite awesome quality. And yeah, amazing. The live pictures are also handy. Not every day, if you ask me, but sometimes it cannot hurt to have that. And with 3D Touch, I can also check out my last recorded pictures and videos here. So I can just go through here. If I let go, of course, these go away, and we have to go back to our regular pictures and videos that you can take now for yourself. So, for example, you can see the back camera also quite good quality, fast, and the wide angle is also right. There's cameras like, for example, the Sony that has a better wide angle, the Z5 or Z5 Compact. But what you can also do now is record in 4K. For that, you have to go into your settings, though, a little bit down here to the bottom and to photos and camera. And then here on the bottom, you can record or set your video size and also your slow motion size. I would recommend to use a full HD. It's a little bit more impressive than 720p, even though the 720p is slower. So if you want to record something extremely slow, that's maybe better. For example, here I had on the Oktoberfest these guys, and you can now see how in 240 frames it's really slow. But if I record at the same thing with full HD and in double the speed, you could say, with 120 frames. They're still slow, but the quality is just a lot nicer. And you can see both of these videos online on my YouTube channel. Just don't forget to look for it on Tech Video, that's my German channel, and iPhone 6 camera test for more slow motion. Otherwise, the quality is alright, especially when it comes to this live picture thing. So if you go to a picture, you can always see something moving. If you recorded it in live picture mode, like so for example here, if you want to see it in full, you have to force touch it, and you can see, for example, here on the bottom, this little thing twisting and flipping, but it just needs more space, 3 times the space than if you just would shoot a regular picture. So it doesn't make much sense to use it every day, if you ask me. But otherwise, the quality is really good. The anti-shake optical image stabilization system of the Plus is also really good, but not so much better that I would definitely only buy the Plus over the regular 6S for that feature. But obviously I would actually get that one because the battery is just double the size, and the battery is still also really good on this one with the 1700 milliamps. That's a little bit smaller than last year's, but still really good. But just having double the battery size with 2900 milliamps on the 6 Plus means a lot to me. And otherwise, when it comes to speed, as you can see, I have a lot of games on here with the dual-core processor and just 2 gigs of RAM. Actually, it should be quite slow, but it's not. So if I open up, for example, Modern Combat, you can see it's almost instantly open. I can start gaming really quickly. It's extracting some files, and then we can just tap to continue. Let's skip here, and then I'm right away here, and I have to just shoot this guy. Oh, I went out of the cover. There's another guy. There we go. So otherwise, let's not shoot that much. Let's just check out here the area. Let me get it a little bit closer. You guys can see how beautiful here Modern Combat, for example, the graphics are. Even though we only have an HD screen on 4.7 inches, there's a lot of details glimmering. And yeah, it's crazy what smartphones can nowadays do. But for example, this game, I would not really like to play here on the screen because your fingers cover up half of it, and it's a little bit too fast for me when it comes to moving around. I like shooters, but with mouse and keyboard usually, so that would be my option for Bluetooth. But you were able to see it's really extremely fastly loading up, and there is no glitches, no nothing or anything on here. If you want to, you can still use your phone, of course, for working and other things, but it's just crazy how much a little phone like this can do, and that's one of the reasons maybe it's worth it to buy. I could start up other games, but there's of course a gaming review video by me also, so check that out. Also, don't forget to see that. And let's go back to 3D Touch, where you can, for example, right away write a new email here on the bottom, or if you are in your email system, you can read a little short preview of the email that you might want to see here. You can also mark it as unread by swiping it to the left or right for delete. So that can be also handy. Or if you are in an email or on a website or anything and there's a link, you can also preview those links by just 3D touching it and not letting go. That's quite important, but you can slide it up to open it somewhere or to add it to reading list, or if you swipe it back down again, it whooshes away. Now that's also possible if you're on a website like Safari. On Safari you can just go in here on top and type something like, let's go to yahoo.com. It will go to the German site right now, and for some reason no, we don't want Yahoo Mail. So if I would want to read anything on this website and I'm a little bit more interested in what maybe the article holds, I can just here again 3D touch it and then it will load. And actually it should load without having me to go to the site, so it will load up, and then you can see I could again open it in a new tab or just read it somewhere where I want to read it. So 3D touching is handy. It's not the main reason you should buy this phone. I think it's more of a better camera, better gaming, and 3D touch is just a bonus. But otherwise, there's not much reason to buy a new one if you have last year's model. I would maybe get the big one for gaming and videos. It's a lot better, and battery life also, and the camera is also a bit better thanks to the optical image stabilization. But otherwise, here the small one is just a lot smaller and more handy for most people, I guess. And compared to, for example, the Samsung Galaxy S6 Edge and other premium smartphones by other companies, the Apple software is still just faster, better, and 4K cutting is really awesome on a phone. So that would be my main reason to get this one. Otherwise, I'm an Android guy. Thank you much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. I hope you like my full review of the Apple iPhone 6s and the Plus. The Plus is obviously the same thing, just with a better battery and a little bit better camera. But just check out my comparison videos with other phones, and then you will see how impressed I was with the iPhones. Thank you much for watching, and see you guys soon again.